Pokemon Emerald Imperium is a ROM hack that takes Pokemon Emerald and basically makes it Radical Red. I actually haven't played Radical Red. I would love to try it sometime. However, today I'm not nuzlocking Emerald Imperium because I am not insane. Anybody who nuzlocks this game, props to you. I am not him. Instead, I'm just going to be playing the game normally, just trying to make it through every single main battle in this game without ripping my hair out. But because we need to make this somewhat interesting, I've decided that I'm going to beat this game with only shiny Pokemon. One of the features this game has to offer is an increased shiny rate, which I believe is 1 in 2,000, which is pretty darn good. This should still be plenty difficult considering I'm locked into whatever shiny we get. Speaking of, the first shiny we're hunting is Piplup, and the only reason is because it actually gets a Mega in this hack. But its shiny is still pretty good. This unfortunately would be a soft reset type of shiny, and nobody likes those. And I don't have all the time in the world, so I did in fact use speed up. I don't really shiny hunt in older games because I straight up don't have the will to do it. To put it plainly, I get bored and quite literally fall asleep while hunting. I don't know why, but I do. So to make this as painless as possible, I have loaded this hack onto my beautiful Archie cube to shiny hunt there where I can bring this thing anywhere I want. I can shiny hunt this thing on my couch, on my bed, while I drive. Don't do that. Or at work. The last one is not a joke. I know all of that sounds sponsored, but it's not. I genuinely just love this thing, and I'm hoping it'll make me more prone to make more videos on the older games as they just don't feel the same on my computer. So I got started, resetting with the press of a button, mashing A, and with these upped odds, there's no way this would take long. Oh, how very wrong I was. Even with speed up, I was not getting this thing. This took me literal days to find. Not too long, but hey, not too short either. I was getting antsy. My theory was correct though. I enjoyed hunting on my handheld way more than I would have sitting at my computer. And when I finally did find this thing, which I want to say took me a total of maybe 10 to 15 hours, I was in my car waiting to pick up my wife. There she is, my beautiful shiny Piplup, which made me yell in my car where no one could hear my screams. Well, except Piplup. He definitely heard them. With this shiny, I was finally able to start our shiny only run in Pokemon Emerald Imperium. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, not seeing the shiny in the overworld kinda broke my heart, but at least we get that sweet sparkle in battle. We had a bashful nature, and by the way, we do have minimal grinding on, so there's no EVs and everybody's IVs are perfect, which I just love. We do have a nickname theme going, so if you can guess it off the first name alone, you deserve a cookie. Marco. Hey man, you can be scared. We're going against hard trainers. Get your act together or I'm gonna paw you. There's a lady in the Pokemon Center who can change your nature among other things, but I'm not going to use her. You're gonna be bashful forever, Marco. The one thing I will use are probably ability patches and capsules, as I feel like that's a part of the Pokemon versus a nature where I just feel like you shouldn't be able to change a nature. Of course, we beat May in our first battle, and she's probably thinking, how the hell did you get a shiny Piplup? My dad didn't give me a shiny Piplup. In fact, he didn't give me a shiny starter at all. Hard work and dedication, May. Hard work and dedication. From there, the professor gives us a bunch of items, and that's when you know you're cooked in a ROM hack. Well, I've already hunted one shiny. There's no going back now. I was surprised to find out that the professor actually gives us a shiny charm. What? Marco really was going to be our hardest shiny to find. But one question, Birch. What the hell? You knew I was looking for a shiny starter? You could have given me this before. We actually already get quick balls and ability capsules. Now, one of the key things to shiny hunting Pokemon very easily is the dex nav, and it looks like Mom is the one who gives it to us right after leaving the lab. These should be super easy shinies. Alongside the dex nav, you get a lot of other useful things like PC Box Link, Infinite Repel, and much more. On Route 104, I see that we can find a Phanpy, and I adore Dawn Fan, so with our new dex nav, we start searching, and this was literally 10 times faster than the Piplup, finding it in just under an hour. You might be able to nuzlocke this with just shinies, especially since you can literally hunt whatever Pokemon you want on each route. It sure would take a long time though. I named her Annie, and on we went to see Dad in Petalburg, where thankfully the catching tutorial is just cut out from the game. That thing's going to ground me, isn't it, Dad? Yes, son. Yes, it is. For me, I went north into the woods where we faced our first real challenge, an Aqua Grunt. I'm not joking. This Aqua Grunt isn't necessarily hard, but can be very annoying with flinching and rough skin Carvana. Also, I hit the wrong move with Annie at first, and this led to Marco cutting it close, but with rough skin, despite him dying first, we blacked out. That can't be a good sign for things to come. Emerald Imperium actually features a new rival, this being Dawn. May is so buns in the base games that they didn't just revise her team, they straight up added Dawn. The disrespect is real, rightfully so. Not even a single gym badge in, and her Baneri knows fake out. And to make matters worse, she has a Piplup no matter what starter we choose. I'm actually surprised Annie lived that Aqua Jet. Of course, she won't live a Bubble Beam, so after an Ice Shard, the true Piplup is in. I bet she's looking at hers in sheer disappointment. Thankfully, we have Pluck, so we're able to take that out with a crit at the end, which might have mattered. All that was left was a Noibat, and I just prayed it was holding a berry. And it was, so Marco could easily finish it off with a Bubble Beam thanks to being in Torrent range. Finally, we arrive in Rustboro, where we can't take on the gym just yet, as the game tells us we have to go east to take on some trainers. I can shiny hunt a Buzzwole? Over to the east, Rourke is just chilling, so I assume this is who we have to battle. Emerald Imperium lets you battle a bunch of Sinnoh gym leaders, which is awesome. They are optional, except for Rourke, and they give us useful items, such as the TM for Rock Tomb. Once that's done, we can head over to take on Roxanne, and she has 4 Pokemon. I lead Marco against her Rhyhorn, and I go straight for a Water-type move. I did not think that the AI would switch in turn 1 into Wooper's Water Absorb. At least let me use it once. Oh, this is not going to be fun. Next turn, I swap in Annie on a Mud Shot, lowering our speed. Now, unfortunately, we do get yawned, as well as getting a Magnitude 7, but we straight up crit. Annie is lethal, and this wouldn't be the only time Annie was lethal. That is, until she fell asleep next turn and died to Gligar. Marco obviously avenged his fallen comrade, but she still got 2 Pokemon, one of which is a Nose Pass. Thankfully, it misses a big Thunder Wave, allowing us to Bubble Beam, lowering her speed. Her Berry Juice does pop, and we get another one off before getting paralyzed. 1 Aqua Jet later, and all that's left is Rhyhorn, so literally all we need to do is not get paralyzed. This game is gonna get much harder, isn't it? I'm gonna have to shiny hunt so many Pokemon. Oh nice, there's a prompt for the next level cap. Our next threat was a very important one. Okay, no it wasn't, it was just another Aqua Grunt. Can I give up now? Can I go home? Now at this point in the game, I'm not looking at any documentation or calcing anything, but trust me, later I'm going to have to do that. Not a lot, but I will have to. That being said, this guy crushed me, and he had an illegal ass Mightyena. Level 13? What kind of BS is that? Well, there's 2 things I can do. 1, shiny hunt another Pokemon, or 2, level up. I went with option 2, as Marco evolved before the cap. The cool thing about this game is that the Sinnoh leaders level scale, so for example, this Glameow will always be 2 levels below my highest level Pokemon. Also, I think the shinies are showing in the overworld. This Piplup looks slightly more bluish. I think. Are you shiny or not shiny? I restarted this fight so many times and could not get through it. I would need some serious luck to win with the shinies I had. The Glameow does too much damage to Marco. If we get a high roll, we kill it. If we don't, it U-turns to Mightyena. Mightyena isn't guaranteed to use Thunderfang, but I guess I could pivot into Annie, and as soon as we lower its speed with Bulldoze, it'll start sucker punching. And I put all attacking moves on Phanpy. This is one of the best runs I had, where Glameow does fake out and just knocks off. Then we lower its speed, so we outspeed for the Bubble Beam, kill next turn. I successfully pivot Annie into a Thunderfang, and then I Bulldoze. He'll Sucker Punch anyways, so I go for a maybe lucky Magnitude, but it's just a 6, and Marco revenge kills. All that's left is Spoink, and Spoink unfortunately has the move Flash, which in this game is an Electric-type move. So that's done. Luckily, the attempt right after, same thing happens, only Marco takes extra damage since we don't lower Glameow's speed, and Mightyena doesn't Sucker Punch us, so Annie is able to KO. With that, all that's left is the pig. We Bulldoze, lowering speed, die to Icy Wind, and then Marco can outspeed for the Bubble Beam, but because we're faster, the AI actually goes for Icy Wind, despite it having Flash. So next turn, it outspeeds for the Flash, nearly killing us. Thankfully, we came out alive. AI can be really weird and unpredictable at times, or depending on how you look at it, just really smart. Now the BS doesn't stop there. No. See, May literally doesn't let us leave Rustboro unless we beat her, and she's pretty tough right now, having a Golbat, Grovyle, Hatchram, and a Legendary. What? I attempted this fight many times, and I came to the conclusion that I needed to shiny hunt another Pokemon. There is no way I can do it with these 2. So I went for Petalil, as Hisui and Lilligant would be awesome to use. So a little while later, and Mikasa is ours. Oh yeah, the shiny is definitely showing in the overworld. Oddly enough, even with an added Pokemon, I still could not beat this. I was leading Annie to take on Golbat since Petalil can't, but Grovyle gets Piplup too weak to take anything else on. Time and time again, I was defeated by May. This team is better than anything she has in the base game, which is pretty crazy to say out loud despite her having a Cubfoo. Eventually, I was able to Rock Tomb Grovyle since her Bullet Seed didn't KO us, leaving Marco to outspeed. Only problem was I used Ice Shard, which was a mistake as she eats her Citrus Berry and Marco can't steal it with Pluck. And to make matters worse, I couldn't even kill from where she was at. Good thing we have Aqua Jet. The AI did go for Rock Tomb prior to this since she was slower, so I guess it prioritizes that instead of super effective Bullet Seed, meaning Marco is super healthy. From here, Hatchram Thunder Waves into Mikasa, which I brutally messed up on as I used Sleep Powder and this thing has Magic Bounce. Eventually I did this right and Mikasa was able to outdamage Hatchram, not getting paralyzed once, and finally Kubfu was her final Pokemon. And Aerial Ace is brutal against my plant, so Marco's the only hope for this 1v1. And just looking at Rock Smash get a defense drop, I knew we had lost the fight right there. But unlike Marco in the show, this Marco is not succumbing at all. 1 HP in a dream. The dream of having the Torrent ability to absolutely demolish the bear where he stood. Good shit, Marco. I really did not want to shiny hunt another Pokemon in the limited area I had. Are you happy or are you mad? You're giving me mixed signals here. With May finally defeated, the cap raises to 25 and we can head on to Dewford. There is a boss fight with Gardenia which would give us the Eviolite, but I just know my team can't take her on just yet as 2 of my Pokemon would get demolished. So in Granite Cave, I went to hunt yet again another shiny. And at this point, I just want to play the damn game. I looked around and as much as I want to hunt Hisui and Zorua, that wasn't going to help us with Gardenia. So instead I saw an Emolga and I feel like this is such a unique encounter. And while it's not the best Pokemon, it's certainly not the worst. Shiny is good and it would help with those grass types and the next gym. Cave dex nabbing is a little different as it's dust clouds and they aren't as often as grass encounters. So it was a lot slower. Annie did evolve here though, which I completely forgot it was this early. And that shiny is amazing. After about an hour and a half, Emolga showed itself and Levi was ours. Oh, he's cute in the overworld. From there, I finished up in Granite Cave, delivering the letter to Steven, and this man proceeds to give us an absurd amount of items. I thought it wasn't going to end. Levi, you're literally floating. Why are you hopping? Now, Levi has its hidden ability, Motor Drive, which is good, but I'd rather have Lightning Rod, which I don't think it gets in the main games, so once we get ability patches, I'll be able to change it to that. Emolga isn't the best Pokemon in the base games, but in Radical Red and Emerald Imperium, we have his special attack raised from 75 to 95, which is pretty significant. Did I just randomly get Pokerus, or is that increased as well? If that's not increased, that's insanely lucky. Anyways, back at Gardenia, we lead Levi to Air Cutter, and by dodging a Sleep Powder, Roserade is down. This, of course, is going to bait in Sudowoodo, which I just switched Marco in for on a Rock Tomb and Revenge Kill. And from there, Levi can take on the rest of the team, cutting it very close. With that, we now have our Eviolite, and I slapped that on Piplup. In Dewford, there's also a guy who lets you relearn moves straight from the menu. Great quality of life feature. Now, let's move on to Brawly. Brawly has 5 Pokemon, and not all of them are fighting types, oddly enough. He leads an interesting Pokemon, Pikachu Libre, which in this game is a fighting electric type. So I lead Annie to just straight up bulldoze. Fake Out plus Hidden Power does do a ton, but it's still just a Pikachu, so that's done. Hariyama comes in next, so fearing another Fake Out, I swap in Levi. From there, we just Air Cutter 2 times with a Citrus Berry in between as he low sweeps, lowering our speed, meaning we quick attack to finish it off. Levi is way too weak at this point, so we just let it go down after hitting another Air Cutter, and Marco is in now to Bubble Beam, but I know this has a chance to not KO, but Brawly for some reason goes for low sweep, I guess to lower our speed, and an Aqua Jet next turn does it. Now this is weird AI, so someone let me know, but Lycanroc is in, and I go for Bubble Beam, but he just straight up switches out into Sand Slash to tank it. Why not just go into Sand Slash to begin with? I don't get it. Either way, game plan here is to just Bubble Beam to lower speed, but Eviolite Marco tanks so much damage that eventually we just win. Well, almost. We do fall to priority. Honestly, I went for Aqua Jet 2 times, thinking the first time I would die, so Bubble Beam was the play. This was close though, and it's an even closer fight as Mikasa lives a move without crit, so she revenge kills, and all that's left is Lycanroc, which Donphan, if she doesn't get crit, can 1v1 this thing. So Annie doesn't get crit, and one Bulldoze destroys the Rock Doggo. I love Donphan. These fights are closer than I thought they'd be. I make my way to Sleeport City, which honestly feels more like a town than a city, but either way, of course, Team Aqua are up to no good once more, and these little Aqua grunts gave me some trouble. The problem is they both have fully evolved bugs, Low-Kicks and Golisopod, and it's a back-to-back fight. And with only 4 shinies on my team, one of which wasn't even fully evolved, yeah, I could not get past that water bug. So there was really only one thing I could do, and that was getting another shiny. In the grass above Sleeport, Toxo was an option, and I love Toxo, and even more, it's shiny. Toxtricity also has an amazing ability, which I love utilizing with its moveset, as well as this thing getting its Gigantamax form as a Mega in this game. So this was a great choice, especially since it evolves right fight at the level cap. Now, I hadn't played in a while, so I completely forgot I was doing a naming theme, so just ignore him being named Reverb, it's Reiner. With an extra Pokemon on the team, we were able to stay alive long enough for Levi to finish the job like he always does. With that, Archie decides not to punch a child in the face, despite being an evil crime boss. Anyways, on we went to defeat May in a battle which wasn't at all difficult thanks to Reiner. Check out Alolan Executor's Gen 3 sprite. He doesn't even fit on the screen. Now that's a quality sprite. Soon I meet up with Rydell to get a bike, and was his name always Rydell? Have I just never paid attention to what this guy's name was? Wally is in this city, but we crushed his dream of ever becoming a trainer. Even in a difficulty hack, Wally's just a pushover. I've stopped to check how many whiteouts I've had up until this point, and apparently it's 12, which, no it's not. It's definitely more than that. Sometimes I just reset since I know I'm gonna lose a battle, and I'm also impatient to go back to the Pokemon Center. Wattson wasn't all too bad. He leads a Dedenne as Levi light screens for 8 turns. And from there, I just go into Marco on, I think, HP Ice. Now, totally expecting an Electro-type move, Annie comes in. Luckily, it didn't do much with light screen up, and Annie handles that. While I straight up sack Mikasa to Vikavolt for a free switch into Marco. The reason I do this is to pluck away its Aqua Berry. Charge Beam doesn't do too much to it, but it is a guaranteed special attack boost in Emerald Imperium, and is 100% accurate, so I swap in Levi next, do some damage, and set up light screen once more before Reiner can fire punch Vikavolt to death. The dark type Luxray is a mega for this fight, which is brutal, and since it has psychic fangs, I go into Marco, who takes one for the team. This allows Annie to stomping tantrum, which surprisingly didn't kill, but this is why I never take Ice Shard off of Annie. Seriously, I don't think I took Ice Shard a single time off of Annie. From there, Annie lives a mirror shot and destroys Magneton, eventually going down to kill a Wattrel. This can't do anything to Reiner, so we power up punch once and then spam fire punch. We outdamage its roosting thanks to that power up punch, so there was nothing Wattson could do at this point. I even had a berry in case. Wattson gives us the TM for Volt Switch, which is great, and a lot of electric Mega Stones. However, none of them are for Toxtricity because that one is locked away after Norman in the Trick House. Regardless, we did evolve Marco after this, and although subtle, I adore his shiny. And we were very close to getting one of those new Megas for him. But before that, I decided to do a couple of things like evolve Mikasa into Hisui and Lilligant, but for some reason I thought the Sunstone would evolve it into that. No, you idiot, it's obviously for regular Lilligant. So I've been putting off Hisui and Lilligant for a long time, and I didn't even need to. I had a Leaf Stone just sitting in my bag this entire time. I could have had a lot easier with a lot of those fights if I had just evolved this thing. Son of a... Fantina is between Verdanturf and Mawile just chilling, and she's kind of tough, having a Mega Banette on her team. Every time I got to that thing, it was game over, so I decided I would go take on Dawn above Mawile, as defeating her would give me the Mega Stone for Mega Empoleon D, short for defense. This wasn't too bad. We just Trailblaze with Mikasa to be faster and KO with Brick Break, and from there we Brick Break Empoleon D to half, and we could have KO'd since we lived a Flash Cannon, but nah, our Hustle Lilligant decided she wanted to miss. So instead I sent in Reiner, but instead of using Overdrive, I used Power Up Punch for 2 reasons. This would allow us to Poison Jab her Serena if it did come in, and 2, well, Empoleon D actually has Lightning Rod as its ability, so we can't use the move even if we wanted to. The AI actually swapped in Chandelure though, and instead Levi gets a light screen up and Volt switches into our own Empoleon, to which she switches again to my Crit Surf, to which I fear a high jump kick, so I go back into Levi to Air Slash, but of course Levi doesn't do jack. Levi is really gonna need to be replaced. He's already falling off. Anyways, with Ice Shard on Annie, we can not only kill that, but Noivern as well. Annie continues to be a beast, and finally Empoleon gets the final blow, which is fitting as we get the Empoleonite D, finally. My team looks like this after every fight, I swear. A Nuzlocke must be brutal. Dawn also gives us a ton of ability patches, so I swapped some hidden abilities in, like Empoleon's competitive. From here, I truck on Route 112 and stop by the cave, as in here, we can get a Galarian Rapidash, which I've never used, and its shiny isn't too bad. This one took a little bit longer than the others, but man, is this thing beautiful. She looks like a pop star. I named her Historia, and here is where I realized I had a nickname theme going, so Reiner finally stopped being his split personality. Man, that shiny Rapidash is something else. Shinies always look better in sprite form than in 3D. The next route wasn't difficult at all. you can skip, I think, almost all the trainers. But after Far Arbor Town, I was straight up stuck with the shinies I had. This route has perma-snow, and all 3 trainers on this bridge have teams dedicated to it. This was difficult. I could not win against the second guy. He leads a Beartic, and a Beartic, which I did not know happens to be a fighting type in this game, which I don't know why, I think it fits super well. And on top of that, it has Slush Rush as its ability, so I literally have nothing to outspeed it. I tried leading Annie, that led to nothing. Mikasa dies to an Icicle Crash. Oh, and by the way, if you noticed, I said snow, not hail. So this Beartic also has a defense boost, just like in Gen 9. By the time I killed Beartic, half my team was dead. And the defensive Cloyster is even more defensive thanks to snow. Now that's not really an issue since Reiner can just overdrive it, since Cloyster's special defense stat has the defensive integrity of a thin-ass piece of toilet paper, but Araquanid just whips out the equivalent to counter, Mirror Coat. It does go down to Levi, but at this point, I only have 2 Pokemon left and Arctovish is the last Pokemon. Clearly, a Fire type isn't going to do it. And yes, I said Fire type. Galarian Rapidash in this game is actually a Fire and Fairy type, which is why I picked it up. And of course, this thing does indeed have Slush Rush. Yeah, this is hard and he doesn't even have a full team. Now, I wasn't calcing every little thing because I just rather trial and error it over and over to learn the AI. And well, this isn't a Nuzlocke, so of course things take me multiple attempts to beat. But this guy was really grinding my gears. I did go snag some TMs from Marvel's Game Corner and got back to it. I tried putting an air balloon on Historia since Beartic has Earthquake, but the AI knows when I put air balloon on something, which is so dumb. Like it's good, but it's dumb that it does that. Regardless, this let me flame charge Beartic for speed boosts. Almost killed the thing. So boom, EQ since our air balloon popped. Fuck me. So I tried other things, like leading Empoleon with Aqua Jet to maybe kill, except the same thing happened. Aqua Jet didn't kill. Now, why I didn't just think to put Torrent on Empoleon here, I don't know. But regardless, Annie revenge kills. And thankfully, one Shell Smash wasn't enough to kill Reiner, and he kills Cloyster. But I did notice Arctovish has a Life Orb, so by cheesing and switching, we got it down to where I thought Wild Charge from Historia would kill. Surprise, surprise, it didn't. And Emolga died right after. Son of a... Okay, I died a lot, so let's get to the one where I win. Marco leads. Flash Cannon, Aqua Jet, Max Roll Kill, Sack Marco, Sturdy Bulldoze for a speed drop on the Fossil Fish, still don't outspeed with Toxtricity, so we nuzzle, then eat Berry, then outspeed for the KO. Okay, the team's sitting pretty. Araquanid takes on Reiner after doing tons to it, but we got 3 Pokemon alive, so we Volt Switch for the revenge, and finally, Mikasa is just fodder, so Volt Switch finishes the fight off. Holy shit, that took 2 hours. I'm over it. And oddly enough, the last trader on the bridge was a piece of cake. There was one more difficult trainer with Galarian Darmanitan and Mega Glalie down the line, but nothing compared to the horror of that Beartic-loving idiot. From there, we finally progress with the story and encounter Team Aqua again. We don't actually battle them, which, thank God. I don't need any more battling right now. Despite me saying that though, we were going to be battling more, because up in Mount Chimney, these 2 rival gangs are beefing, and us as a kid needs to meddle and stop 2 grown-ass men from killing each other. And just when I beat a really hard battle, Emerald Imperium shoves another, more harder battle in my face 2 seconds later. These are the admins, and they start off with a Centiskorch and a Cradily. At first glance, you wouldn't think anything of it, but you'd be wrong. Cradily has Storm Drain, so you can't use Water-type moves, and Mega Centiskorch has Mountaineer, so you can't use quad-effective Rock-type moves either. It's horrible. I won't bore you with all my failed attempts. I think that's enough for now, but basically, I led Marco and Historia. Marco can Flash Cannon Cradily, which is super effective. We do take an Earth Power on Historia, but with our Citrus Berry, it's fine. The AI can see things like Air Balloon, but I don't think he can see things like abilities. I have Flash Fire, and Fire Lash does nothing. So with the boost, our own Fire Lash does a lot and guarantees a defense drop. From there, Marco takes out Cradily and Iron Thorns. Yes, you heard that right. These stupid admins have Iron Thorns on their teams. Anyways, he comes in, and oddly enough, a Cell Rock doesn't KO Historia, letting us pop its Air Balloon. Marco does go down to a Fire Lash, so now Annie can come in, and Historia is dead anyway, so we can just Earthquake everyone here. Annie kills both the Mega and Iron Thorns. What a freaking legend. And finally, we get to Superior and Bombardier. Annie switches out into a Leaf Storm on Reiner. This is good as both the Pokemon on the field are resisted. We Light Screen on the same turn, and by the way, Superior has Contrary, so those special drops are now boosts. So I poison jab trying to get rid of that thing fast, and we don't quite kill, but this is why I never take off Ice Shard on Annie. It came in clutch once more. With that, we get intimidated from Tauros. Annie barely misses the KO on Bombardier, but luckily Tauros didn't go for Reiner, and instead Annie, meaning Reiner, escapes death and kills Bombardier. All that's left is this stupid bull. I'm not even halfway through this game, and I can't imagine doing a nuzlocke of this game. Sure, I'd have so many encounters as opposed to my limited shiny team, but I gotta give props to anyone who beat this, because this would literally break me. Sure, maybe after a month or more I could probably do it, but no thank you. By comparison, Maxi is nowhere near as hard in my opinion, as I do play most of my cards right using an Encore strat on his hammer up to lock it into Earthquake, forcing it to switch and safely go into Annie to kill Colossal, which I found pretty neat. From there, I play my resisted switches correctly. Power up punch on Cacturn, don't die to Flamethrower thanks to Light Screen, and Mikasa literally takes out half of his team. And for some reason, Drake shows up. Like, bro, go to your chamber. I got this. It takes me some time, but I got it. I did go fight Maylene in the Jagged Pass, where I assume she's training. Levi can take out her Meloetta, no problem, thanks to Light Screen, and Mega Lucario dies to 2 bulldozes, thanks to, again, Light Screen. As for Lilligant, Historia comes in on a brutal Leaf Blade. I mean, that did so much, but luckily, she switched on my Morning Sun, so pivoting on EQ and power up punching, and then drain punching, lets Mikasa go ballistic on 4 of her Pokemon, winning us another fight. You can always count on Mikasa to get a sweep off. In Lava Ridge, we snag a couple more TMs, and this is where our 4th gym badge will be obtained. And surprisingly, this was one of the easier gyms. Flannery has a pretty cool team, including Walking Wake. She leads Ninetales, as Levi is our lead for obviously Light Screen. From here, Historia can come in since she has Flash Fire, and I just Fire Lash as the sun is up. Wow, that did a lot. Now she does switch into Walking Wake, which is fine, as we get off a guaranteed defense drop. From here, it's obviously going for Hydro Steam, so I go into Mikasa pretty freely. From there, I Trailblaze for a speed boost and Drain Punch for the KO and some health. Unfortunately, Scovillain does come out next, so I go in free again into Rapidash. As we Fire Lash, Flannery gets Sun Up once more, and I can't believe Historia lived a Scorching Sands. This lets Scovillain meet its maker, and her shiny Infernape comes out. A fellow shiny hunter. And it's a Mega. So I just let Historia go down, as I need a free switch into Annie, because we have Sturdy, and a Flare Blitz in the sun is dangerous. Surprisingly, it didn't bring us down to Sturdy, but either way, 1 Earthquake is enough to decimate Sun Wukong, and Rotom is in. Another Comrade falls as Sun is still up, and Overheat is again dangerous. So now Levi gets a Light Screen up, and Rotom is crippled. Now this would have been great, but then she switched into Drought Torkoal. Okay, it doesn't actually matter, as 1 Charge Beam and Overdrive was enough, and another Charge Beam on Rotom makes us +2. We live Overheat because of Light Screen, and 1 Sludge Bomb, oh wow. You're all big. But it's okay, as with Light Screen still up, Reiner can take out Rotom and eventually falls to another Drought Flamethrower from Ninetales. From here, Marco just surfs away and just Aqua Jets. Okay, we Aqua Jet twice. I feel like I was doing so well and almost lost it there. Defeating this gym gives us a very special item, the Mega Ring. So now we can Mega Evolve Empoleon and Toxtricity once we get his Mega Stone. Speaking of which, the Trick Room is now available to us, so I head over there to destroy Wally after multiple attempts. And I mean multiple, because getting in Levi on an Earthquake is a roll. It's random on whether or not it'll use that or Earthquake on Rapidash. So if it uses Rock Slide, we have to reset. And if it doesn't, we get into Marco safely, Aqua Jet, die, Mikasa kills with Drain Punch. And from there, the rest of the team wasn't too hard. We get to a point where Reiner Trailblazes, and this allows us to get the Spider down to the red, so we Charge Beam, and now we're faster than Wishy Washy for the KO. The Trick House is usually optional in the regular games, but not here. We have to do it, and it is very annoying. Random little trainers, which are called mini-bosses, like the ones on the Snow Bridge, have a literal Paradox Pokemon. This Iron Moth destroyed me, and it's the first puzzle and the first trainer of said puzzle. All you need to know is that after many attempts on most of the trainers in here, we got the Toxtricity. Look at this monster of a Mega. Well, so much for that. But yeah, like I said, the Trick House is not optional. I had to actually go finish the other 2 rooms even after getting my Mega Stone in order to challenge our dad. I won't bore you anymore, but one of them did have a Kartana. Enough said. Norman's team is pretty scary, so I decided I wanted an Incineroar for Intimidate, and because he leads his Sui and Zoroark. Now, shiny hunting the starters is not guaranteed. What I mean is it's random what fire starter I get from the egg in Fall Arbor Town. So I just kind of have to hope that a shiny Litten pops out of one of these eggs. But it could be something else. Okay, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the lineup. It actually gets a new ability, Striker, to boost its kicking moves. And with the Mega Stone, it could be good. And the shiny's nice. I named him Armin. With our newly acquired shiny starter, I take on Norman, who Blaziken has a good matchup for, but it's funny I said that, as I lead Annie to knock off, as this isn't actually Obstagoon. It's a Hisuian Zoroark with a sash. But again, this is why we carry Ice Shard. From there, Ursaluna Blood Moon comes in, and I decide to let Annie go down, so Marco can come in and surf, but Dad's being a little bit of a prick and switches into Cyclizar. Knowing it has a Citrus Berry, I pluck away, and this thing can't really do anything to us, so Marco eventually does come out on top. Believe it or not, Dad went to Area 0 and caught an Iron Valiant, who has the Booster Energy. This Booster Energy raises its attack, so I straight up sack Marco to a close combat to lower his defenses, and now Historia walls this thing, so we take a knockoff and KO. From there, he switches into his Mega Slacking, a new Mega that is absolutely broken. Up stats and no Truant. This thing is a beast and will kill something on your team, despite looking like a drunk dad at a bar ready to fight. I go for a Fire Lash to lower defense, and then Armin here, to my surprise, lives an Earthquake and just straight up triple arrows this thing to death. That move is boosted by Striker, but I still couldn't believe it. The actual Obstagoon comes in after, and this thing is scary with Guts Flame Orb, so I just sack to get Mikasa in for free, who to my surprise, again, lives a Facade. In what world does your frail butt live a stab Facade from a Guts boosted Obstagoon? You don't. Who are you, Mikasa? Those had to have been ranges, and thanks to those ranges, we get a big Drain Punch off Ursaluna instead of Leaf Blade, probably because I thought I wouldn't KO and I wasn't calking. So Mikasa goes down and Reiner finishes the job. After this, level cap opens up and allows Mikasa to learn Victory Dance, which is an amazing setup move. And I head over to the desert where we can finally get some Paradox forms. But I've had enough shiny hunting for now, so I skip on them, sink a Ruin, somebody stole Appa, and on we went to get the TM for Surf in this desert because we have to surf if we want to continue on with the story. So we gotta fight random difficult trainers who took me a long while to beat, but once we do, Surf is ours. With Surf, we can take on Crasher Wake to the right of Mauville, who was pretty difficult. He has things like Kingdra and Lapras, 2 Dragon Water types, Toadscruel for the Curveball, and even an Urshifu. Somehow, the reason I won was because Reiner got Lapras super low. And I should have just overdrived again, but I thought Charge Beam would KO. I didn't actually know it was a Dragon type up until this point. I thought it was over, but it wasn't, as Annie Ice Sharded and then proceeded to live an Aqua Tail from his Gyarados. Then we Rock Blasted it, didn't KO, but again, for the billionth time, this is why I keep Ice Shard. I am never getting rid of it. Once that was over, I make my way to Route 119, where the only difficult thing here is the Weather Institute. We actually get a break from those annoying Lasses and Aces. Okay, kind of. The grunts were equally as hard as those annoying random trainers. There's a double battle in here with a Mega Machamp, an Ogerpon, and an Iron Jugulus. Around here is where I realized the team I had was just way too frail to stand against these beasts in battle. Regardless, I didn't want a shiny hunt just yet, so whiteout after whiteout, I kept trying. I realized keeping Armaldo alive was the best option to not end up with 2 legendaries or megas on the field, so I targeted the right side. Machamp didn't live a single turn, and the same could be said for Levi. Oh, did I forget to mention Ash Gray Ninja? Yeah, these random grunts have Ash Gray Ninja. They are not Ash Ketchum. Why do they have Ash Gray Ninja? But luckily, I also realized that that needed to be dealt with immediately, so one Play Rough takes that out before it can even transform. Finally, Ogerpon is in, so I swap out into Marco to take a hit and almost KO Ogerpon, but thankfully we get the poison, so Reiner's death was not in vain. From there, the right side was officially wiped, and the victory fell right into my lap. And then I proceeded to get my butt handed to me for 30 minutes against Shelly. All you need to know is I encored Gyarados thinking I was smart, but then she just switched, so I had to switch, and I can't believe Historia can't even kill a simple Haxorus. You call yourself royalty? Pathetic. Honestly, the same could be said for Marco. Getting off my encore strat with EQ Gyarados again, I was able to air slash my heart out, keep encoring since we're faster, and down fell her Mega. Mikasa took out Keldeo, Marco roosted off damage somehow, getting Braviary weak for Armin to finish that, and Decidueye with a Blaze Kick. Don't worry guys, we do get another break as May is a pushover in this rival fight, just like the base game. By trailblazing on Crobat, Reiner can just demolish her Mega, and then we pivot into Marco on a Psychic, and then into Levi on an Aura Sphere to get a Light Screen, which happens to let Levi live on 1, so I let him live another day. That's totally a lie. I sent him to his demise moments later. Pretty much much I had counters for the rest of her team. There's some optional trainers in Fortree City with the devs, and I won't touch too much on them, but I needed to battle all of them. 1, to get the Mega Stone for Emolga on offense, and 2, these guys actually give us the choice items, and yeah, I mean, they are optional, but I doubt anybody skips them. One of them straight up got swept by Mikasa with 2 victory dances, so that was fun. Well, almost a sweep, but hey, she took out 4 Pokemon. And with that, we finally had the Empoleonite O. Moving on to Winona Rider, she wasn't too bad. I mean, she did have Thundurus, but with Marco Mega evolving, which by the way is beautiful, he got a crit liquidation on his debut fight, and then liquidated some more on Aggron. The synergy between Marco and Reiner was amazing, since we can come in on close combat and demolish right after. Altaria did require Ice Spinner damage from Mikasa, and then Historia finished it off, but yeah, not bad at all. It's about time I get a real break. As soon as this battle ends though, a big tremor happens outside, out of nowhere, so I head across to the next route, avoiding as many trainers as I possibly can, until I meet up with Byron, who was hands down the easiest Sinnoh gym leader by far. I mean, I wiped the floor with this guy, thanks to my 2 fighting types. He does give you a Melton after this, and I debated hunting it, but I actually don't know if they're shiny locked. Someone said the mythicals were, so I don't know if Melton is or not. Regardless, I didn't, thanks to us already having a steel type, and near Mount Pyre, I saw Dino and Overquill as an encounter, and I really needed a dark type. Levitate was pretty useful as well, so I decided on Hydreigon, and this shiny was really annoying to hunt as there's barely any grass, and it wouldn't shake like half the time. But this is where I realized I've been shiny hunting all wrong the entire run. See, I'd go into my Dex Nav, and I'd have to navigate to the Pokemon I wanted, and then I would click to search for it. Apparently, if I had just read and pressed R on the Pokemon, I could just spam R in the overworld, and it would look for said Pokemon. And this made shiny hunting so much easier. This one specifically though did take a long time, but I'm glad I figured that out at this moment with the limited grass we have here. It took some time, but our 2-headed green dragon was ours, so immediately I made them a brother. I named them Aaron. And finally, we had a Pokemon that was strong, but not frail. By the way, the reason I hunted Aaron in the first place was because I couldn't get past this double fight before Lily Cove. With the Perma-Rain, Lightning Rod BS, and Swift Swimmers, I just could not get through it. But with Aaron, he gets access to the move Tailwind. And this is one of the reasons Hydreigon is so useful, because at this point in the game, everything is outspeeding me, even if it's by a couple of points because they have perfect natures. So we set up a Tailwind, don't die in one hit, and we also get the move Fickle Beam, which has a chance to do double damage. 160 base, which is just insane. Anyways, with Tailwind up, I got Dreadnought, so incredibly weak. I don't know how it didn't kill, but basically we outspeed the next turn, taking both of these guys out, and all that was left was the left side. Finally, I made it to Lily Cove, where hopes and dreams are crushed, because Dawn's here checking out the department store, which she says is bigger than the one in Veilstone. But of course, she's itching for battle. I feel like I played this one alright. Sure, I got whooped a bunch of times to her Iron Boulder, but when I did win, I had a solid plan. Armin just triple arrows Thickums, Aaron Tailwinds, Mikasa Leaf Blades Iron Boulder, and Reiner kinda just hits things as they switch in. But Annie, of course, uses her Ice Shard shenanigans, and since Sturdy was still up, we just Earthquake Empoleon. And she missed the Toxic and started roosting after, so with more Earthquakes, and I kid you not, another Toxic miss on her part, that thing was down. Sturdy was still up, and yeah, we got burned, but that didn't stop Annie. Say it with me, we never take Ice Shard off of Annie. In Lily Cove, if you talk to the man who's supposed to be the move deleter, he'll tell you that he quit that job and gives you the option to relearn egg moves, which is super neat, and I wanted to hunt something unique, so I decided to hunt type Null, which you get from an old man in this city. Now, I didn't really know if this was shiny locked or not, but I figured since it was an egg, it probably wasn't, and well, I got it. It's a pretty bad shiny, but to be honest, in Gen 3 as a sprite, it's not too bad. Alright, it's pretty bad. I named him Beethoven. Okay, Silvally looks a little bit better. One thing I don't like is they don't just give you all the plates for Silvally, you have to exchange them one by one. I can only ever have one in my bag at a time, and it's just annoying to have to go back every single time I want to change its type. Naturally, I just kind of forgot to go back and fight Fantina, but again, the levels do scale, so it wasn't a big deal. And this is one of the easier ones, only having 5 Pokemon, and Mikasa took 3 of them out. I had to go to Mount Pyre, where you actually don't fight anyone to my surprise, as Maxie already has the red orb, as well as Archie having the blue orb. So of course we have to stop them like usual, so I head to the Team Aqua hideout first to fight Mr. Pirate Man, who wasn't hard at all. Aaron just destroyed this man, going all out on his Fickle Beams, and Reiner and Mikasa cleaned up. Getting past that opens up the next route, which happens to be a sun route, but this was a breeze, no pun intended. And soon enough, we arrived in Moss Deep, where Drake and Steven are just chilling. Yeah, we're just scoping out the place before we go in, as if they're not the most powerful powerful trainers in the region. Funny I mention that because these twins might as well be one of the most powerful trainers in the region. I mean, right off the bat, they lead 2 legendaries. Oddly enough, I did this on my first attempt. Marco lives a hit and takes out Tapu Lele as Aaron tailwinded, and fearing Mega Kangaskhan as well as Sacred Sword, I swap Aaron into Annie. I brought Drill Peck on Marco, and after, Mikasa comes in. I did Stealth Rock since Espathra has a sash, and Kangaskhan is super scary since Power Up Punch gets 2 attack boosts thanks to its ability letting it hit twice. But since that turn Mikasa set up with Victory Dance and I brought Close Combat, yeah, that thing was dead. Now the reason Iron Leaves isn't targeting Annie is because it's locked into Sacred Sword from Scarf, so Mikasa goes down and Aaron is in. I didn't know what happened next turn in the moment since I used Ice Shard, but looking back I'm pretty sure it's that Psychic Terrain doesn't allow us to use priority moves. Regardless, I got another Tailwind up and Annie finally falls. Espathra has Speed Boost, but Astoria is just too fast in Tailwind and I brought Mega Horn, which didn't KO. How the hell? Luckily she doesn't die on us and is still faster, so one Flame Charge takes it out and Beethoven can finish off Iron Leaves. All that's left is Liza's side, and with Tailwind, Alakazam falls easy. And Furgiraffe is, well, a Furgiraffe. That was more scarier going into it than it actually was. After that, we head over to the Space Center where Drake and Steven finally break in and actually take care of all of it, so we didn't even have to lift a finger. But Steven does give us the Magma emblem, so we soon arrive to the Magma hideout. There's a back-to-back fight with the admins, but I cruise through this. Marco with Liquidation and Aqua Jet for Talonflame, and Astoria took out most of the rest, but Ice Shard came in clutch. As for Tabitha, this was even easier since Litigan's Victory Dance plus Drain Punch gets us 2 healthy and one-shots these 2 in Close Combat for Embor. Those 2 were a cakewalk compared to Maxi though. Maxi basically has 3 legendaries, although Mega Camerupt is pretty bad, but the real problem with this fight is that it's a double battle. By the time I get to Groudon, my entire team's dead, and having Groudon on the field along with Mega Camerupt was not the play. Another problem was that if you keep Incineroar, it'll just keep bulldozing to lower your speed, so then you're definitely not going to kill Groudon. I tried resetting over and over to see how the AI worked. I needed to protect with Aaron to not get faked out, as well as getting up Tailwind with Beethoven as he also learns that move. There were fights where they would just fake out Beethoven instead of Aaron, which was bad. I guess it's random on which one it chooses. Basically from there, Silvally can Swords Dance as Aaron goes all out on his attack to KO Hawlucha. Incineroar does still bulldoze, but with Aaron not dying right away like in previous fights, he's immune to that. With Aaron not dying, this also forces in Groudon immediately because it's the only Pokemon who has a super effective move for Hydreigon, that in Body Press. This means that we can get rid of it early, hopefully. Beethoven is +1 thanks to Intimidate, but I just chip it and Aaron did a lot with Fickle Beam. From there, Beethoven doesn't die to a Fire Punch, to my surprise, and Bulldoze actually hits Groudon as well. Meaning yes, Aaron takes out the Primal Beast next turn, and Beethoven can get Incineroar super weak, but dies after. All those Bulldozes he got off pretty much mean nothing now as Aaron never got affected by them, and now Armin comes in, which is perfect as Chiyu comes in. Okay, not really. Chiyu actually outspeeds Mega Blaziken thanks to its timid nature. Remember how I said this thing might be useful, especially with its Mega Stone? Yeah, it rarely is. I thought Mega Blaziken was fast, but it only has 100 base speed, and that's probably because it gets Speed Boost as his ability, but it doesn't actually get Speed Boost. No, in Emerald Imperium they nerfed my boy, and he keeps Striker. In fact, I don't even think normal Blaziken gets Speed Boost. Anyways, Aaron takes out Incineroar, and Camerupt is in. We play rough Chiyu, and unfortunately Camerupt does have Ancient Power as I was holding an air balloon. From there, Aaron Fickle Beams, which I really thought would kill, but at least Annie can Bone Ring the Mega to death. These 2 pathetic Pokemon are all that's left, and Aaron hasn't taken a lick of damage. All my previous fights with Maxi, he died right away, but little did I know he was the most important one. With Maxi defeated, Groudon breaks out of its Pokeball, to which he's surprised. I mean, bro, it's in its primal form. What did you think would happen? Over in Zootopolis, I talked to this girl who's never been out of the city, and she says she wonders what the outside world holds beyond these walls. But these aren't walls, they're cliffs. And she says this, and says that those Titan-sized Pokemon scared her. Is this supposed to be an AOT reference? Which, by the way, if you haven't guessed by now, the naming theme is Attack on Titan. Is this a coincidence? Is it fate that I ran into this little girl? I don't know. But what I do know is I didn't need to come here just yet. I actually needed to go to the Aqua hideout, and this is where something terrible happens. I don't know why, but the game straight up glitched on me. For some reason, the Pokemon in my PC box completely disappeared. Only box 1. I looked everywhere. They aren't here, which is weird because in my other boxes, these gift Pokemon are still here. And I realized this because I couldn't get past the admins. Levi, Marco, and Mikasa, they're all gone. and these shinies will never be seen again. I was so upset. Sure, screw Emolga, that thing wasn't doing anything anyways, but Empoleon, my starter, and Mikasa, my sweeper, that hurt right in my soul. I didn't even realize Mikasa was gone until I actually needed her. I thought I had just lost Emolga and Empoleon, and I was just dealing with that, but when I figured out she was gone, I died a little more inside. Why couldn't it have been Armin? Jokes aside, I have no idea why the game glitched. I didn't do anything. Hell, I didn't even turn the game off. I can't even hack them in like PK Hex or something because this is a ROM hack. There's Pokemon up into Gen 9 here, so that wouldn't work. I can't even put cheat codes in to get them back. It's either I shiny hunt them again, which Piplup would be a nightmare, or shiny hunt new Pokemon. And it looks like that was gonna have to be the play because I couldn't get past these back-to-back admins. I didn't even want to hunt more shinies. I was satisfied with what I had. I was ready to truck it all the way to Steven. But to be honest, I think this needed to happen. We needed stronger Pokemon. Everyone had legendaries at this point, and I had none. So I thought of Iron Bundle, and in order to get that, I have to go into Shoal Cave, which is blocked by Candace. Nobody say the joke. And this fight was uneventful, so I'll just skip it. Inside, we can find a plethora of Paradox forms, but knowing I lost to Mikasa, I felt the need to replace her. And that's when I saw Iron Leaves. I actually fell half asleep while hunting her, but when I saw her shine, my heart rate rose and I woke up instantly. That shiny is perfection. I had to use my Master Ball, but I wouldn't be catching anything else anyways, so it was fine. It had a great nature, and its hidden ability is Sharpness, and this thing gets access to a ton of slicing moves. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's still pretty quick. Quicker than Mega Blaziken, I'll tell you that. Mikasa 2.0. Welcome to the team. Our next Pokemon was probably the quickest shiny we've ever gotten. Celesteela. It was like 50 encounters. We needed a Steel type after losing Marco, and it gives us another ground immunity, and honestly, I just hunted it because it's bulky, and its shiny is amazing. Who doesn't like white shinies? No idea where I got 2 Master Balls from, but hey, who cares? Not the best nature, but with Automize, it could be good. I called it the Founder, and with these two, I was ready to take on those admins. The first one leads Keldeo. I kid you not, a single Leaf Blade destroys that thing. The Founder comes in to take care of Decidueye, and sometimes the AI did switch into Gudra, and sometimes it didn't. In this case, it didn't, and we lefties Protect to live a move to KO the Owl. Huh, the Owl. That must have been Kruger. Then Mikasa does her thing again, and Annie has Ice Shard because Bone Meringue doesn't KO. Finally, Armin does something on the next admin, but that was short-lived as Grey Ninja will become Ash Grey Ninja if I sack. Regardless, it still became that, but Mikasa is just too good. With that, Annie's able to take down Dragonite with a Head Smash, dies to Recoil, and again, Mikasa is just too good. Mikasa, what the fuck? Put a shirt on, dude. Oddly enough, Archie is 10 times easier than Maxie for me. Leaf Blade takes out Iron Bundle, his Golurk takes out Mikasa, Aaron revenge kills as the Founder took the hit from Mega Sharpedo, and then automizes. Then, since they see a kill on the Founder, it's a perfect moment to protect and set up Tailwind. So now we outspeed, Fickle Beam Sharpedo, sack the Founder, and Annie actually outspeeds thanks to Tailwind. Electros doesn't have Levitate in this fight, so that's down to Bone Meringue, and Aaron holds a Chople Berry to live a close combat. Now we can Fickle Beam Kyogre, and Annie outspeeds once more to get the KO on the Duck. Kyogre is his only Pokemon left, and Historia takes one for the team as Annie still has Sturdy, so she gets another one off. With Rain Up, Thunder does it, and Archie falls. The same exact thing happens to Kyogre, and now they're fighting in Sootopolis. So we go to see Wallace, and he tells us to go see Rayquaza in Sky Pillar, but to my surprise, Drake is already there, and apparently he's been edging these two idiots along so that he could capture Mega Ray. Meaning this guy is no longer an Elite Four brain. He's a douche who is a double battle, which was extremely difficult, harder than the last two by far. This guy took me so many attempts, but eventually what I did was lead Beethoven with no memory. Instead, he's holding a Scarf to outspeed and Ice Beam Mence. Historia is holding White Herb because of Intimidate, and from there Magearna gets its Soul Heart ability popped, which raises its special attack every time something dies on the field. Now I do switch in since we're locked into Ice Beam, and Magearna is almost dead. Tauros obviously gets another Intimidate off, and once Historia falls, Beethoven comes in once more, this time to outspeed and Tailwind. With that, the Founder air slashes Tauros as he retaliates with close combat, instead of going for Beethoven, but it's okay because Magearna has Aura Sphere for him, getting a third Soul Heart off. This is dangerous, but since we have Tailwind up, all we have to do is just watch as the Founder will KO Tauros, and Annie can outspeed to Bone Meringue. Next up is Archaludon, and Mega Ray destroyed me so much in previous attempts, but not this time. Mega Ray has the ability Delta Stream, and this will get rid of its flying type weaknesses. I protect because they both see kills on Celesteela, and then I outspeed thanks to Tailwind and Choice Band Bone Meringue Archaludon to death, and Gouging Fire comes in. With one more Tailwind turn, the founder lives a Dragon Pulse, and Annie can Boomerang another victim. With Lefty's recovery, we just barely live another Dragon Pulse, and since we Meteor Beam the prior turn, we get it off this turn and it's not super effective, but Beast Boost has been giving us special attack boosts, so it still did a ton. Now Mega Ray sees a kill on Iron leave, so we bring back Annie, whose Ice Shard isn't quite effective, but with the band, and the fact that it's still a Dragon type, still KOs from where it's at. And by the way, the only reason Ice Shard killed there was because he used Dragon Ascent, which lowers his defense. I definitely took a break after this fight. That was brutal. Of course, Ray stops the two primals from beefing, and we can finally move on from this evil team crap. Our next gym leader is Juan, but he's actually not a water type trainer. They made him a fairy type trainer, which I love, but this made him super weak. Tapu Fini is scary as his lead, but again, Mikasa is a beast and one-shots it. Fluttermane's scary too, but Annie Ice Sharded it with a ban from just under half its health because its defenses just suck. And the fight was still close with Diancie, as all I had left was Beethoven, which was a normal type, but it only had a sliver of health left. And Rapidash didn't crit us, so it died to not only recoil, but Life Orb. Okay, so I only had one Pokemon left, and this was his HP, but I didn't have to do the fight more than once or come up with a different strat. It was easy in terms of that, and for that, I am grateful. This game has taken me so long to get here, but finally, we're in Evergrande City, and there's a couple more things to do before taking on the Elite Four. One is fighting Volkner, which, yes, he does lead a Miraidon, of all things, but this fight was insanely easy. And the trend continues with Dawn and May. Thankfully, this isn't a back-to-back fight, so I take on Dawn first since she was easier for me. Her team is stacked, having two Ultra Beasts, but playing my pivots right, Historia destroys Blacephalon thanks to a crit and Iron Boulder is in. I have no idea why I Ice Sharded, but as I switched, she switched in Meowscarada and I swapped in Rapidash once more. Protein is a little annoying as it changes its type and it does that before we even attack, so Historia ended up dying, but here we go once more. Ice Shard, baby. The founder finished that, went into Pheromosa, only to swap again, this time into Empoleon. Empoleon D is straight buns, I would know, so Aaron was able to 1v1, and thanks to still having Choppleberry, we get a Tailwind off to finish this off with Mikasa. Outspeeding Noivern doesn't quite kill, however, Reiner can finish that off, and of course my Ultra Beast wins that matchup. Okay, I might have lied. May was actually so much easier, and it's because I just got straight up lucky. I lead Reiner to take care of her Crobat, and Sceptile is out next. I let Toxtricity go down as Celesteela walls this thing, especially with Protect and Lefties. So I realize here, I can just Automize and keep healing. With a +4 in speed, plus Beast Boost giving a special attack boost every time we KO something, we can outspeed almost everything on her team, and Protect on the off turns for health. But this only works out because Celesteela gets a big flinch on Volcarona. If we don't do that, we're just dead. And then we get another one on Tapu Fini, and a third flinch. This guy is straight up hacking right now. Now Dragonite has multi-scale, so it doesn't die in the first hit, but it does D-Dance to try and outspeed, it doesn't, and Urshifu just dies. I did not mean to do that, but hey, I'll take the time save. But that's not the only rival we have. Wally does fight us inside Victory Road, and his Sneasler was no problem thanks to Bone Meringue going past Focus Sash. The founder takes care of Mega Gardevoir, Aaron starts the rumbling with that Fickle Beam, and we still have a Choppleberry to again get off that Tailwind. From there, Reiner overdrives both Darmanitan and his own Celesteela, and Shaman I thought I was done for, as Rapidash straight up died in one shot, and I thought Iron Leaves was about to meet the same fate, but for some reason the AI went for Earth Power again? No, my bad, twice. He went for it twice. Thanks for going easy on me, bro. I'll mention you in my acceptance speech once I'm champ. With all of our rivals defeated, I can make my way through Victory Road, arrive to the Pokemon League, and take on this absurd line of trainers. This was not going to be easy. They all have two different teams they can choose from, and I just can't fathom a nuzlocke of this. Sidney has Galarian Moltres, one will assist his team with Tailwind and the other Trick Room. He immediately switches on Toxtricity into Monkey Dory, so fearing a predictable Psychic, I go into Aaron. Monkey Dory is a part of both teams, so I still don't know which one is which, but regardless I go into the founder on a Sludge Wave, because it's the only move he could actually use. And this works out great, as I can just Automize with Celesteela freely, which meant nothing as Air Slash doesn't KO Delphox and one Mind Blown blows us up. Ah well, it was worth a shot. This was his Tailwind team, and this team has Delphox instead of the mythical Victini. Anyways, Aaron tanks a Mind Blown, Tailwinds, and Dark Pulses the Fox to death. Now I did fuck up next turn as I forgot Absol would be a fairy type after it Mega Evolved, but Reiner can just come in and Boom Burst this thing to oblivion. When in doubt, Boom Burst. The same was done to Roaring Moon, although we did almost die and well, Reiner couldn't actually finish the job. 3 Play Roughs wraps up the next 2 Pokemon and Grimmsnarl doesn't stand a chance thanks to Mikasa. By far, this was going to be our easiest fight. It immediately ramps up after this with Phoebe, and it's probably just because of this dumb Calyrex Shadow. It's too fast, and it's just way too powerful. The power creep is real. This thing has a base 165 attack and base 100 speed. And on top of that, it has 2 abilities, Unnerve and Grimnay, which works like Beast Boost. The thing is a monster. And on top of that, it has Focus Sash and Draining Kiss, so Aaron can't just Dark Pulse. And I can't just use Roselli Berry because Unnerve. Basically, I need to kill that thing fast. She does have another team, but I never faced it. Despite everything I've said, I figured it out pretty fast with just trial and error. I play her off Dragapult, Ice Shards, I switch in Reiner to take one for the team, and since I can't use berries, I just have to sash Aaron. With that, we not only get a Tailwind off, but we outspeed next turn to bring her down to her sash. And this is why I saved Donphan, to Ice Shard after, but we actually got lucky and flinched, so that wasn't an issue, and we Dark Pulse Pecharunt, getting a second flinch. Not that it mattered, the Tailwind was up, and he died right after. From there, Mikasa Side Blades. And I am Scarfed, so I have to switch it to Historia. Don't know why she went for Wicked Blow, but it allowed us to Fire Lash, and with the defense drop, only 1 Boomerang was needed to KO. 1 Side Blade takes out Mega Gengar, and 1 takes out Annihilate. Mikasa is a demon. But as with the entire E4, this fight was easier than the next one. Glacia is an Ice-type trainer, but she has 2 teams, a Snow one and a Sun one. I want to fight the Snow one because I only have Sunny Day to change the weather, and this is big because we don't need her Kyurem Black getting a defense boost. I attempted this many times, trying to figure out a way to break this team/teams. I fought the Sun one a couple times, but it was clear I was going to win with the Ice team. This fight took me 2 hours of trial and error just to win. Basically, I ended up teaching Sunny Day to Hydreigon to keep Donphan nice and healthy. I sashed Aaron to sack him later, in case. Then switch in on an Ice Beam fairly free. This is where things get a little weird. The AI sometimes switches in Volcanion, and sometimes lets me KO the Ninetales. Volcanion is the reason I need Donphan healthy, so anytime she switches into it, I just reset because I need Ninetales to die, as it baits in Kyurem Black right after. Sometimes we KO Ninetales in one shot, and sometimes we don't, and this is because Frostbite is essentially burn, but for special attack, which I didn't know until this fight. From there, Reiner comes in, and the goal is for Reiner to chip him with Boom Burst. The only problem is Glacia uses a move called Scale Shot. It's a Dragon-type move that hits 2 to 4 turns, while lowering her defense, but raising her speed. And if it uses this move, I'm basically screwed. Thankfully, the AI can go for Icicle Spear. I just need it to not kill Reiner, which sometimes it does. And if you haven't guessed by now, yes, it's holding a loaded dice. I actually had an attempt where Reiner died early, but I somehow made it to a perma-snow, but Historia just didn't KO with Fire Lash. In that fight, Donphan got burned, and this is even more RNG for me to avoid because he won't KO Volcanion if he's burned. I was so done with Emerald Imperium that I could just not accept the loss and go grab Blaziken out of the box. But honestly, I didn't even want to use Armin. He was pissing me off the whole game. Anyways, the attempt we finally win, we throw everything I just said out the window. Because I guess loaded dice doesn't always make you hit the max amount of times. He hit 4 Icicle Spears, allowing Founder to live, so a Flash Cannon got it down super low. Thankfully, no Scale Shot, and Reiner Boom Burst that thing out of here. Darmanitan dies to Scarf Mikasa's Sacred Sword, and this is why we keep Aaron to sack. That way Annie can get him for free, and we live a hit thanks to Sturdy, and 2 Boomerangs almost KO. I should have banded him. Regardless, Iron Leaves outspeeds both that and a perma-snow, but dies right after to Ice Hammer. But it's fine, because I knew I needed Historia. Historia can Fire Lash that, and since Electivire is part fighting type in this hack, 1 single play rough finally relieves me from the torture of this woman's team. I just want to become champion at this point. Oh, but don't worry, the next fight is even harder than the last. Because if you remember, Drake was a douche, and they've replaced him. Do you want to know with who? It's Cynthia. It's fucking Cynthia. Now, she does only have 1 team, but half of her team is so broken that they decided, okay, let's chill guys, give her a Cramorant. It'll balance it out. Well, it doesn't. This fight almost took me 2 hours to beat as well, and maybe I should have just fought the Elite Four again, maybe with Silvally as an extra Tailwind setter, but I'm just way too stubborn. And when I have a strat planned, I try to make that strat work, regardless if there's another in front of me. The real problem of this team is her Xerneas. She took a page out of Phoebe's book and just has this broken Pokemon. Xerneas has an infamous move called Geomancy. This move is a 2-turn move that will boost special attack, special defense, and speed by 2. It's checked by the fact that it takes 2 turns to actually set up, but Cynthia has figured this out obviously. She's a champion herself. So she equips her Xerneas with a Power Herb. And do you know what that means? You don't? I'll tell you. It means, turn 1, she's already buffed and destroys me. Even if I live a move, I won't do any damage back. Or if I do get past it, my team has seen way better days and she still has a Garchomp and a Zamazenta in the back. But before all of that, she leads Spiritomb. Spiritomb is actually super easy to deal with, and it's hard to set up Pokemon as it has a move called Dark Hole, which I wish I had taught to Aaron if I have the option to do that. I don't remember. It says it can be learned by tutor, but I don't know where this tutor was or if it was post-game. Anyways, this move has a 40% chance to induce sleep. It's insane. Even a berry can't help you here. On top of that, it has Intimidate and an Assault Vest on. Basically, I needed to look at Aaron's moveset to see if I had a move that could KO Xerneas if I set up with Nasty Plot. I did. It was Flash Cannon. So that's 3 slots of Aaron's moveset taken up. Flash Cannon, Nasty Plot, and Tailwind. The last move was kinda tricky. Fickle Beam is resisted by Zamazenta, and Dark Pulse doesn't do enough. Aura Sphere was a good pick because it's super effective against Zamazenta and Heatran. And Belch is great since I'm using a berry anyways, but just when I thought I had a move to sweep a good chunk of her team, she laughed in my face. I'm not kidding. If I put Belch on Hydreigon and kill Spiritomb with it, she'll go into Garchomp. Okay, that makes sense. Ground is resistant to poison. What doesn't make sense is how even if I don't use Belch to finish Spiritomb off, it would still do this. Okay, let's use Flash Cannon instead. No, Cramorant comes in because the AI knows that I have Aura Sphere for Zamazenta. Like, what? How do you know that if I didn't even use it yet? Okay, let's Belch. Not reveal Aura Sphere again, just in case. That's sure to bait in Zamazenta since it's immune. Wrong. Surf actually lets Zamazenta come in, but Surf isn't a powerful enough move even at +6 special attack. So now I need a water type move that is powerful enough, and lo and behold, Aaron actually learns Hydro Pump for some reason. It's very inaccurate, and when we're trying to dodge other RNG, it's pretty bad. Like for example, I can't fall asleep too much or we die, and I need to be able to Tailwind before killing Spiritomb to outspeed. I reset a bunch of times. Once everything goes according to this horrible plan that I cooked up, Hydro Pump has ranges against Zamazenta. There is an 83 to 100% chance to KO. I have a 3% clearance. It is insanely rare. So to get all of this to work, it took me the majority of the 2 hours. Eventually, I Tailwinded on Spiritomb to KO it, get the range on Zamazenta, and obviously hit the move, and Cramorant comes in. We don't kill it, but it doesn't matter, as Tailwind is done after this. From here, Historia takes it out to bait in Garchomp, to which a Play Rough doesn't KO, and she goes down to an EQ. Mikasa then goes for a Sacred Sword, and 2 of them knock out Heatran, thanks to Heatran only going for Will-O-Wisp instead of the kill. Very lucky, but from here, the demon is out. Geomancy, Xerneas. We're unfortunately burned, but I found another way to KO Xerneas during all of those failed attempts. I can't kill this thing no matter what I do. I can't bait it for a sweep. Cynthia's too smart for that. So instead, I just cheesed it. I put a Focus Sash on Reiner, and Toxtricity happens to learn the move Endeavor. So we bring this monster down to 1 HP after we're brought to our Sash. And I still have Annie. And if you've been watching this video the entire time, you probably know exactly what I'm going to do. This is why we never, ever, ever take off Ice Shard off of Donphan. I love you, Annie. I really do. And with that, Annie wins us the fight against Cynthia, and we can finally take on the champions. And yeah, I said champions, plural. It's a double battle against Steven and Wallace. But don't worry, this is actually easier than the past 3 fights. And it's because I just got insanely lucky. They both have Mega Empoleons, but I have Annie and Celesteela. The founder takes a big liquidation from Empoleon O, as Annie can straight up bulldoze, lowering speed. Like I mentioned before, Empoleon D is Buns and doesn't actually KO Celesteela as he flip turns, which is actually perfect because this puts the Dialga on the field with Empoleon, instead of having Palkia and Dialga at the same time. So now they both see kills against Celesteela, so I just protect, and a Bulldoze is super effective against both of them, which, by the way, is banded, and we lower their speed in the process. And to make things worse, the founder is faster now thanks to the speed drops, so we flinch Primal Dialga with Air Slash. Holy crap, and I'm not making this up, this is the first run. I haven't even reset yet. Again, they both see kills against the right side, so we protect once more and Bulldoze. He does finally go down, but Annie is still in thanks to Sturdy. Now, I still have another floating Pokemon in Aaron, so we just keep going at it. I Fickle Beam Palkia and keep bulldozing. Annie finally falls, and Aaron doesn't, but it gets frostbited. Reiner then just overdrives for the KO on almost both of them, but it doesn't matter as Aaron is fast for the KO on Primal Palkia. There's only 3 Pokemon left for us to be done with this game with only shiny Pokemon. Suicune and Metagross come in. We naturally outspeed both of them to get more damage off, and oddly enough, Aaron lives a move, but they both end up going down anyways. It's looking a little scary as I was doing so well and now I only have 3 Pokemon, but I promise it's fine. We outspeed some more to Fire Lash Metagross and Leaf Blade Suicune, and this is all that he has left. And it pains me that they both had shiny Empoleons, as I too had a shiny Empoleon. It was my first shiny to start this brutal game with, and I hate to do this to them. But if I can't have my shiny Empoleon, then no one can. And with that, I have beat Pokemon Emerald Imperium with only shinies. That was brutal. I am dying inside a little bit, but honestly, it was super fun. I hate how we just straight up lost 3 shinies. No idea how, but I'm glad we came out of this on top after multiple attempts against almost every trainer. And it's pretty ironic how the champion fight took me 1 try. No calking, just straight chance. Let me know who your favorite shiny from the team is, and if you have beat this game, what team did you end up using? I love Annie.